Welcome to this week's AMT Fresh Produce outlook on the markets from a cold and wet Potchefstroom. This week we will talk to Jaco Oosthuizen from the RSA Group, who will share his thoughts on the dynamics of the fresh produce markets the past 3 months. And we also discuss price movements for the past week as usual. All in this week's video, so make sure to stay tuned. Hi, I'm Johnny and welcome to this week's AMT Fresh Produce outlook on the markets made possible by Standard Bank. These videos are aimed at keeping you up to date with the latest news and trends on the fresh produce markets of South Africa. And to stay up to date with the latest prices and news, please subscribe to the AMT YouTube page and follow us on Facebook. As mentioned, Jaco Oosthuizen from the RSA Group will share his thoughts this week on the dynamics of the fresh produce markets the past 3 months, which is definitely something to look out for. Please also leave your comments below on how the Covid-19 outbreak impacted you or your business the past 3 months and be part of the discussion. But let's go and see what happened to vegetable prices the past week. Potato prices increased by 1% week on week to R29.87 per kilogram bag, with demand still limited on the markets. The tomato price decreased by 2% to R6.35, with volumes increasing slightly week on week. Carrot prices continued its downward trend, decreasing by 8% last week to R3.85 per kilogram. Low carrot volumes this week due to some producers that is out of the market is still giving some support and will most likely give some support to the price going into the next week. The onion price also decreased by 8% to R5.04 per kilogram, mostly due to limited demand. Other vegetable prices traded as follows: cabbages on R2.68, garlic on R108.94, spinach on R2.81, sweet potatoes on R3.22 and peppers on R12.75. In general, we are expecting the colder and wetter weather to further support the demand for vegetables and draw demand away from the fruit markets. As expected, most fruit prices therefore continued its downward trend last week, with very low demand the major reason for this. The banana price decreased by 1% to R7.13 per kilogram last week, with a low demand that will continue to drive these prices downward this week. The latest apple price traded 2% lower on R6.53, with the pear price decreasing significantly to R5.89 per kilogram. The orange price got some support, however, increasing by 6% week on week to R3.56 per kilogram, although higher volumes were still received on the markets. The avocado price gained some ground, increasing by R11.82 per kilogram. Pineapple prices decreased by 3% week on week to R8.94 last week, which is 59% lower than a month ago, but still 63% higher compared to last year. Other fruit prices traded as follows: grapes on R44.64, mangoes on R15.35, peaches on R8.12 and lemons on R4.31. To stay up to date with the latest prices and news on the fresh produce markets of South Africa, please subscribe to the AMT YouTube page and also follow us on Facebook. This broadcast was of course made possible by Standard Bank. But let's go and listen to Jaco from the RSA Group on the dynamics within the fresh produce industry the past 3 months.
But the interesting sight or the interesting process for us was that there are substantial growth on markets for all products. And the barriers to entry to markets are relatively low, and that is all good signs for budding producers and settled commercial producers. And the markets learned us a few lessons in terms of the past 3 months with lockdown, in the sense that it was very quick to move with where demand was shifting to on commodity lines. We had the impact of the closure of the hospitality trade quite quickly, and it had an impact on certain products, and that information moved quickly through the market, and yet the market developed the ability to move that stock that didn't move initially. And it also rewarded the producers in terms of where product was in high demand. but obviously that was all in balance with supply and demand forces that we saw changing as well on markets, and producers had to adjust, and supply lines had to be adjusted to be able to keep the markets stocked. And also you saw the effect on retail, and I think the producers and their support staff and their workers did a phenomenal job in keeping these markets stocked in terms of product.